Hi, my name is John Wallingford. I want to thank the Fig Tree for putting this group together. I'm listed as a participant in the group and I fully intend to participate, but I'm also somewhat moderating. So I have a few things that I thought I'd start with just as an overview of things to be hopeful about environmentally. In communications, there are organizations now that didn't exist 10 years ago that have grown up. There's 30,000 NGOs in the United States that are dedicated to environmental issues. Those have grown up. Like Mana's role at Lands Council. Lands Council's been around for almost 40 years, but climate justice is a new area of work. That's brand new. Ministries has been around as the Washington State brand of interfaith power and light, a national organization that wasn't around. We're here as evidence of reasons to be hopeful. The communication is happening. So each of our speakers has some time to talk about areas that are close to their heart, and each of these speakers has expertise and knowledge that is leading the work in environmental care. So we bring to you different perspectives on common objectives, and each of them has a chance to talk, and then we'll save a little bit of time at the end in case there's some questions you might want to ask of any of them. They can talk about most any environmental issue.
How many of you would like to leave a better world for your children and for your grandchildren? Put your hands up. Same thing happened at that room. 300 plus people, every single one had their arms up. Because that's what we want to do, is to definitely leave a better world than we found. And fact is, youth of today, we did I think there was a global survey, 100,000 youth between the ages of 16 to 25 were surveyed to ask about their attitude to global climate change. More than 3/4 of them, said the planet is doomed, we're all going to die. Half of them said we're hanging on for dear life by a thread. So when you have that mentality, and there is so much ego grief, there is so much climate anxiety, when we're looking at all of this, just thinking of we're all going to die, nothing's going to change. How do we hope? How do we move on? It is not a change. It's not a surprise that youth today are paralyzed. They don't know where to start. They don't know where to take the first step to make that change or make a difference. So I'm here to tell you today, and don't kill the messenger here. Probably, climate emissions are going to peak by the year 2025. There is a data scientist, her name is Scottish data scientist, her name is Hannah Ritchie, and she has been doing a lot of work around the environment and data around that. And she put together some data. We are looking at, for instance, our parents and grandparents in the industrial era. Our carbon footprint today is half of what it used to be at that time. That's one positive. Second positive that is really, really important is that all of the technology, all the remission, remediation, adaptation measures that we've been putting into place for the last so many years are paying off. I mean, think about when we were wanting to buy an EV 4 years ago, I couldn't afford it. I don't make that kind of money. But today, the prices have come down. The technology has improved, it's cheaper, it's more accessible. Therefore, the carbon emissions are lower. So all these things are happening on so many fronts. We are ensuring that we have, you just heard John, all this stuff, the hopeful things that he's talking about. I love that idea of structures standing up and that are eco-friendly and, are actually sequestering carbon and removing carbon from the atmosphere and breathing out oxygen for us to be able to breathe better. These things are important to us because it's not just about the health aspect of things, but there are so many more things than that. So these are things that you can do. Get involved in your community, get involved with your legislature, make those bills and laws and things that are coming up. Make sure that your voices are heard and that you're represented. So So that's one aspect. Canopy is a program that we at the Lands Council work on with the city's Parks and Recreation Department. It is a program that's we've been kind of taking it on as an equity issue, where we've kind of looked at where there's no income demographics. It kind of correlates to very, very low density of very low urban canopy cover. So we've been working on that for the past few years. We're making inroads. I think since 2012, we've planted over 105,000 trees in the city of Spokane. And that's on the other side of like what we do on the urban level. But in the rural areas, you know, we do reforestation, we do a lot of riparian work. So those are definitely events that we do twice a year that you can get involved in. Come plant trees with us, bring volunteers. And our aim is to, right this minute, I think we have 22% is the urban canopy cover for the average for the city of Spokane. And by the year 2030, we hope to bring it up to 30%. So what that means is, you know, you need to come out en masse, bring all your colleagues, bring your work people, bring big groups of people so that we can plant trees. Look at our website. We always have these events listed during fall and in the spring when it's good planting time, and then just take it from there.
Just good news is local, I think. Today, I only want to mention work on 3 of the largest rivers in eastern Washington. In 2021, after 10 years of court battles with the EPA and Washington Department of Ecology, EPA settled with Sierra Club via an agreement to establish a TMDL, total maximum daily load for cancer-causing PCBs in the Spokane River. Essentially, it's establishing a cleanup plan, according to the Clean Water Act. The EPA study results are due by September of this year. The question, of course, is whether Department of Ecology, which will be responsible for enforcement, will require polluters to abide by the limits, or as in the past, give them a way of delaying or avoiding the law. And for the ongoing good news, it's very encouraging that for the past decade we have had the Spokane River Keeper. It's grown in strength and effectiveness under the leadership of Jerry White, and will continue to protect the river under a leadership team of 4 people. Support Spokane River Keeper. For the Columbia River, with the ongoing negotiations of the Columbia River Treaty between the United States and Canada, it appears that the 2 primary purposes of the 1964 treaty, flood control and power generation, will be joined by some ecosystem function provisions, although unfortunately not including ecosystem-based function as a 3rd co-equal purpose of the treaty. I'd like to leave you with 5 suggestions that come not from optimism, but from hope as commitment. First, think holistically. Think about the sustainability of all of life that we're a part, not only about human life and survival. We are dependent on the life of every other living thing. We are but one member in what Robin Kimmerer calls a democracy of species. 2, select a focus for your commitment and put your energies there. You can't do everything. You can't even do many things well. Focus. 3rd, act locally. Get involved with an organization or effort that allows you a hands-on kind of relationship, a local focus. There are many: Sierra Club, 350 Spokane, Spokane River Keeper, the Lands Council, Audubon Society, Inland Northwest Land Conservancy, GU Climate Institute, many of them. 4, connect with indigenous people and their knowledge and wisdom. Indigenous people have millennia of experience in living sustainably with the natural world, and in recent decades they've also developed the best science in living with the Earth's interrelationships. Accept and support indigenous leadership. And fifth, be satisfied with enough, accepting that it will undoubtedly mean less. Technology will not save us. Conservation is the way forward. Human action to use and consume better will mean inevitably using and consuming less.
My name is Sarah Robinson. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm advocacy manager for Earth Ministry Washington Interfaith Power and Light. Thank you. So it's a fracked gas pipeline owned by TC Energy. It's about 62 years old, and the plan and the problem is that TC Energy has proposed to expand an existing pipeline to push an additional 150 million cubic feet of so-called natural gas, fracked gas, per day. So Northwest communities have opposed this project because it locks communities into expensive fossil fuel infrastructure for decades to come, when what we really need to be doing is transitioning toward livable energy, you could call it. This is a map of the 4 compressor stations as well as the reach of this pipeline. It goes all the way from Canada down through part of Idaho and eastern Washington, right near where we are right now, down through Oregon and into Northern California. TC Energy is also the same North American company that is responsible for the Keystone pipeline that had a harmful rupture and spill. So, and that's just one example. There are many examples of TC Energy projects that have had leakages or spills or other problems. And also the term expansion, or the sense of using expansion rather than building new pipelines. Why are they doing that? It's because it's harder to build a new pipeline now, so they're using existing infrastructure that's old and trying to then push more through old infrastructure. So there is a Stop GTN Express coalition of many organizations. There are a lot of people opposed to this pipeline. Thousands of residents have written to stop the pipeline. The attorneys general of Washington, Oregon, and California all have come out opposed to the pipeline. Senators from Washington and Oregon, governors of Washington and Oregon, 300 plus faith leaders wrote a letter in early 2023. And over 150 civil society organizations also oppose GTN Express. So who decides whether this happens or not? The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission is responsible for rubber stamping or opposing or stopping things from moving forward. In 2021, TC Energy proposed this pipeline expansion, and in October of last year, it passed through FERC. So what is FERC? It's not an elected body. It's a small 5-person regulatory body. Commissioners are appointed by the President and confirmed by the Senate Energy Committee. And their mandate is to protect public interest. So this is the key hinge point that we keep talking about. What is in the public interest? What is in the public interest? The GTN expansion slows innovation plans by blocking in these decades of gas dependence. And so there's a call to reform FERC that we have put out. Maybe some of you who are already on our email list about these issues have received something this morning that you can act on anytime you like. But those of you who are interested, I'm happy to send that information to you. Okay, what can we do? We can take action. Write to your senators asking for FERC reform, and that's the action that we have available for you today. There's also a coalition partner, Columbia Riverkeeper, that has invited people to ask the Biden administration to recognize NEPA, National Environmental Policy Act of 1969, NEPA violations by FERC. You can write a letter to the editor of any publication that you know about and to share your concern. You can also bring your own story and how this issue lands with you.